Hi, my name is Tegan Davis, and we're going to be going over the energy systems today that are used by our bodies for energy, particularly in exercise. So the first thing that is used is the ATP-PC complex, and this is used for rapid or very fast movements, so things like the 100-meter sprint or heavy clean or squat would be used because it takes about 3 to 15 seconds. And then after that, our body would go into a different form of energy. And it's very fast. It produces one ATP, which is why it isn't sustainable for a long period of time. It is fully anaerobic, meaning it does not require oxygen input. And then it's for an all-out intensity. The components that go into it are phosphocreatine, which is where the PCR comes from, and ADP, which is adenosine diphosphate, and ATP is adenosine triphosphate, which is actually what energy is, and then the products of it are 1-ATP and creatine. The next energy system is glycolysis, which is also known as anaerobic metabolism. And anaerobic metabolism is what's used for exercises ranging from 15 seconds to 2 minutes. The characteristics of this are that it's fast. It produces 2 to 3 ATPs, which isn't very much. It occurs in the cytosol of the cytoplasm. It's also anaerobic, so it doesn't require the input of oxygen. And then it goes through another step and produces NAD and pyruvate. And then its fuel that it is fueled by is carbohydrates, which are broken down into glucose and stored as glycogen and used to kickstart glycolysis. Glucose and glycogen form is what depends on the 2 to 3 ATP. Glucose is 2, glycogen is 3 ATP that are produced, and then this would be used in exercises such as like a 400-meter sprint or soccer or basketball, where continued high spurts of intensity are required. And then the third system that can be used is oxidative phosphorylation. This is from carbohydrates, and it lasts for 90 minutes then, and then after that it goes to fats, which can go on for days and days. Characteristics are that this one's aerobic, so it requires the input of oxygen, and it occurs in the mitochondria of cells and produces 32 to 33 ATP, and then that's from carbohydrates. And then if it's going from fat metabolism, then it'll be over 100 ATP that are produced. The fuels that go into this are carbohydrates broken down into glucose again, and then an alternate pathway would be fats, which require acetyl-CoA, which is I have this little drawing here. It might be kind of hard to see, but it goes over the steps of oxidative phosphorylation, so you can see in between the Krebs cycle and oxphos there is a acetylation step, which produces acetyl coenzyme A, which then goes into oxphos to create those ATPs, and then that also deals with an electron transport chain, which the NADH produced from glycolysis goes in to kickstart oxphos as well. And then this would be used for activities such as endurance running or cycling. An extreme case where proteins broken down into amino acids may also come into play would be an Ironman, where people are exercising for hours and hours on end, sometimes hours to days. That would be an extreme case where carbohydrates, fats, and then proteins would be a last resort, would be broken down into, and proteins would contribute to less than 15% of the total energy. And then here's the energy ladder that kind of explains how these energy processes work together. So as your intensity of your exercise increases, your body's going to work more towards the ATP-PC reaction, whereas as the duration increases, as we saw with oxphos for the longer endurance activities, that is when the your body will go more towards oxphos. But all of these are happening simultaneously. None of them are on their own. They're occurring. There's always two that are occurring, and then your body works more towards some of them. So then your MET level stands for metabolic equivalent of task, and so just sitting here resting would be about 1 MET, jogging is about 7 METs, and then sprinting is 12 plus METs. So as you increase your METs, you go up the energy ladder, so as the intensity increases, you would go up again. So that sprinting would then again go towards the ATP-PC energy pathway. So lower METs are moderately aerobic, and they burn a higher percentage of fat, which would be the oxidative phosphorylation, so low on that energy ladder. And then the higher METs are the ATP-PC and glycolysis dominant, mostly burning carbohydrates, which would be that middle and upper part of the ladder. And then a higher MET level, it means the greater overall calorie burn per minute.